Hello, everybody. Alan here with a weekly trading recap. I'm going to be starting it on December 1st. I'll go over the other trades in my monthly recap for November. I have them up on the screen here. My trades for this month so far, this week so far. Let's see. All right. We'll just run through real quick. Uh, Wednesday, I only did mental trades. Let's see. That ended up being a decent little trade here on IMGN, acknowledging a dip to VWAP, and then selling into the pop. Um, Not too bad. Didn't overstay my welcome on that one, so that ended up being a decent little trade. AMC, I bought the panic. It actually panicked way better the next day, and I missed it. This is where I was buying in here, and I believe, let me see here. Oh no, I apologize. I was buying in here. I bought in here and I sold into some choppiness. Sold into the chop, nice little gain. Higher price stock, real company, so it's kind of out of my comfort zone. Yeah, I just thought it was funny how I guess even today, yesterday, it panicked hard and let me see where it bottom. Bottomed at almost exactly the same point near 27, and we had a nice ramp up, 10% spike or ramp there, rebound. And then 25 today. Yeah, and that ended up being a nice little gain there too. But yeah, that was my AMC trade. Small trade. Just looked like a bottom was in, so I decided to get in a risk low of day on that, or risk the bottom of that crack. So not too bad there. Ended up making money. It was only mental, so I didn't actually make anything. But Thursday, couple mental trades, and then I did a real trade at the end. This mental trade here, I thought this stock was going to hold at the open, hold this level. This is CFVI, and I cut it real quick when it broke that level. It broke it a little quick, so I wasn't able to get out right at that level, but small loss, so that's okay. Let's see. Again, traded CFVI. As you can see, when it reclaimed that resistance, I thought we would see that as a definitive bottom, and then I kind of wanted to see it bottom here. But as soon as it started showing weakness, I cut it for a small loss, so nothing huge there. OWUV, let's see. Yeah, I bought this on a higher low above VWAP with probably a risk of VWAP. Let's see, risk of 11. Okay. Yeah, so I was risking this initial dip here because I thought it might put in a higher low. It did put in a higher low, and I sold it. Um, Again, good idea to stick to my original plans. It's all well and good to take profits, but I mean, look at what it did later on. So good lesson there. IMGN again. At least I recognized that. Oh, excuse me. Is this the one prior? Maybe I traded that today. Maybe that's why I'm confused. Um, this was the actual trade I did on IMGN on Thursday, yesterday. Um, I missed this ramp here. I missed this higher low, but I did acknowledge that when it pushed this breakout area, my risk was the 720s area underneath that. And as you can see that on the 15-day, 15-minute here, zoom in a little bit more. So you can see on the 15-day, 15-minute, that was support, and it was also resistance on this day. So I wanted to see it break through that. If it could and held, then I would buy, and it did. So I bought and sold into a quick little spike. So that ended up being a small gain, but not bad because my position size was pretty good since I was close to my risk. So not a bad gain on that. Ended up making decent little 10 bucks Thursday. And today, let's see. TGHI, I bought on a morning panic dip, and I wanted to see it retest VWAP and push higher since yesterday was the first green day. And it didn't push, so I just got out of it because these are very volatile at market open, and I don't want to open the door to potential disaster here. So good little trade, good little gain, not bad at all. CYAD. Second trade for today. Uh, this one I opened the door to potential disaster for sure. Um, I missed this dip. I mean, I wouldn't have bought in, but I bought it on the reclaim of this level, and as you can see, that was previous resistance level. Um, so I thought that we might hold that. I thought that since we gapped up and had all this volume, it might push. And what I should have done was sold into this pop when a top was in or seemed to be in. But I didn't sell up here, and that was my mistake. And we saw this crack. I should have just taken the profit and waited for a confirmation of trend to appear because at this point in time I was just going off of this resistance level as my risk. And as soon as it cracked it, I decided to add, which is not smart. And then it went down further, and I decided to move my risk from this level down to low of day, which is again not smart, especially since I'm in with double the size that I wanted to be. Obviously, I don't take $900 positions or $1,000 positions, so that was kind of risky for sure. Um, but then when I put in this higher low here, I drew a trend line and decided to hold until this trend was broken because I thought that this still had room to go. The overall market was down, so I was I was really cautious and sweating through this one, especially with the size. But it ended up holding up and reclaimed this resistance here. I was pretty excited. I thought we would see it run, and I took my profits in here and took them in here. I could have been a little bit more patient because it was putting in higher lows gradually, but I didn't want it to break down and snap like that, so I just took my profits and um, decided to step off of that one. So not a bad trade, but well, I shouldn't say not a bad trade. Bad trade because I should have taken profits, and then that would have opened the door for the opportunity for me to maybe buy on a higher low. But you live and learn. So right after I sold that, I ended up entering again, and I don't know what it is with some of these stocks where I feel like I have to add. Um, Even when I bought this, I said I'm not going to add unless I see a nice sharp dip to touch this trend line. And I bought in here. I thought it would ramp up a little bit more. And really what I should have done here is sold into this pop or when it couldn't reclaim that. But I thought it was putting in a higher low and it didn't touch the trend line in here. So I thought, hey, let me add. I think it might run. And of course it cracked right there. So good lesson for me. Um, I think overall, I mean, really, looking back, hindsight, buying here is okay. Selling into the pop, that would have been a good move. And then just waiting to see if this was actually the bottom of the dip. Because if I waited another minute, I would have seen that it would have cracked and the trend is broken. So once this trend broke, I was no longer interested in the stock. So and as you can see, it did dip way harder. I may have sold at 499, way up here, but it cracked down to 440 throughout the day and then ramped back up. So I just wasn't paying too much attention to it after this. But yeah, good lesson on that as well. IGEN, this one I bought in anticipation of a breakout. Drew a trend line, and if it cracked that trend or hit really, my risk was if it hit 7, I was going to sell. But when I drew that trend line and it cracked that, I got really nervous and I just sold. And really, what I should have done is just held all day. And you could see it ramped up. And even after this, it actually hit a 10, or it actually hit a penny. So I took a small loss. I had a small position on this, and I took a small loss. So not that big of a deal, but I really need to just stick to my plan and that's really it. I need to stick to my plan, and maybe these trend lines are kind of screwing with me a little bit because I keep thinking things are not an exact science. So, just good to think about. And two more trades, CFVI. This one first green day yesterday, gap up and spike, huge run. But that was all pre-market, and then as soon as it opened, it just tanked and didn't do anything exciting. Um, but today, I wanted to see if it could find a bottom and maybe ramp up to somewhere in the middle. And I missed this run up. It definitely put in a bottom here, and then I would have been really interested on this dip here, but I missed that, and then it ramped up. It dipped down to here. I missed this. I had my finger on the buy button, but I just wasn't convinced that this was the bottom, and it ramped, and then it held this support resistance area. As you can see, that was resistance and somewhat support yesterday. So uh, when it held that and ramped a little bit and then dipped below, I bought in with the risk of this resistance, and it popped real quick, and I just took it off. I had a larger position size because I was close to my risk, so I had a decent little profit and decided to just take it. Good thing I did. You had one more chance, and then it cracked. So this is just what I need to get used to. If you have a quick move, quick spike, just take it. You could always re-enter. Um, but yeah, that's basically that trade and IGEN. Um, this was the OTC that I sold into this crack here, and I wanted to wait for confirmation of a breakout. Once it broke the 8.4 level right underneath where I bought, I got in at 8.5 and I sold it at 8.85. So that was a small gain. I could have been more patient, but I wanted to lock in my gains on this when I really should have been more patient. I mean, this is clearly a multi-month breakout on high volume. So I wouldn't have held it over the weekend, but because of the market. But I mean, this is definitely something that, I mean, if you're buying the breakout, why not just hold? And my risk was this resistance level. So um, yeah, those are my trades this week. I went through them real quick just to see if there's anything I wanted to highlight or point out that I wanted to discuss, but there isn't really much. It wasn't really too active of a week for me. The only thing is just, I just need to sell into pops. I need to sell into these little pops when they come. You know, if this wasn't at the high of day level, then that's fine. I acknowledge not selling. But if this is high of day, this tick, this wick here, and you have you know a spike exactly to this point, and then a pullback, and then a spike exactly to that point again, you should probably be taking some off, and not just adding. So good lesson, especially on this one, too. You have your entry. Just take your profit. You could always re-enter if this consolidation, if it breaks vertical, you can just re-enter with a risk on the low side of the consolidation or something like that. But this just opened up the door to. I mean, if it cracked this and cracked low a day, I probably would have been down like $70. That's just not. That's just not okay. But I am proud of myself for once it put in this higher low, saying I'm going to stick to the charts trend. So I'm glad I did that. It's showing that I'm kind of starting to get some stuff. But yeah, I ended up up $50 for December this week. So not too bad. And we'll see what next week has to offer. With this overall market, I'm just not too sure. We're clearly below this previous support resistance level, and now we're approaching this major one here. I mean, if this cracks, Monday or next week, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know how quickly this could panic, but you know, we'll see. We'll take it a day at a time, one trade at a time, and hope you guys just stay safe. I wanted to just hurry up and get through this weekly recap because there just wasn't too much going on. I mean, what was that was a breakout today. Let me double check if there's anything that I want to go over here. Um, run through here. These are the stocks on my watch list. Yeah, ARDX. I was kind of hoping that this would hold above this resistance support level, um, but it didn't at the open. So I kind of lost my interest. I mean, yeah, there's just a huge spike, but where are you gonna get in? You know, if it held that level, I probably would have wanted to look to sell, into this pre-market high area. But what are you gonna do? CYAD, get rid of these. PTPI, nice morning action, but just choppy, choppy, choppy. Let me change this to a 1 day, 1 minute. Didn't really do much, but that's okay. TGHI, yeah, history of 1 day spikers. LGVN, I was curious to see if we could when we're going to see a bounce, but also I mean this is just under the simple moving average, so the SMA 9. So I don't know. We'll see what it can do. I mean it's definitely up off the highs, so if this can reclaim that, I mean hey, we'll see. But I just don't like all this overhead. Tim Lento, he's another guru trader with Tim Sykes, but he mentions that when you're in a stock or when you're going to buy a stock, let me see here. Can I change the color? Yeah, when you're buying a stock, you have to think about the overhead resistance. And, there are definitely people who are still in up here. So even if this thing did start bouncing, I mean, I'd probably want to get in with a small position. Anything with overhead, you know, because you want it nice, clean. You want something that spikes without anything overhead for a while. So you just have to be aware of that. But didn't really. Whoops. What did I do here? Why isn't it? Technical difficulties here. Okay. Let me run through here. Oh yeah, UAMM that ran later on in the afternoon here. What was the volume? Light volume. I mean, as you can see from the spike, just choppy. I don't know. Didn't really interest me. I mean, I didn't see it until like here, obviously. So I mean, I couldn't trade any of it. But good run. But look at what it did at the close. I mean, it topped out at 578 and then it cracked down to the fours. So if you decided to hold over the weekend, you're screwed. That's probably a 40-50% loss come open on Monday. So just keep that in mind. I wouldn't be holding anything overnight personally. OWUV looks like it's going to need some real consolidation and pullback. Once it pulls back, I'd like to see a bounce off of the SMA 4 or SMA 9 rather. Um, TOMDF, not really anything intriguing. PTN, not intriguing. ISPC, I mean, could have been a bounce. We had this midday kind of parabolic move. Um, I guess you could have played that off the higher low, but I mean, you probably would have been selling into here. I don't know, higher price stock too. So I mean, obviously you don't know that it's going to spike up to here. So 1450, you're down at 1250. You know, Not really too sure about that one. Volume's low. I don't know. CPIX. Okay, that one seems to be rounding. So we'll watch that to see what happens on Monday. If it can reclaim this 480 level, we'll see. If it can spike past that and consolidate at that level, we'll see what can happen. ILUS looks like it's just fallen off here. I mean, not interesting to me unless it gets up to the breakout levels. IMGN, not interesting. I mean, maybe a panic dip buy on Monday. Now that I think about it, let's see. Yeah, you got support resistance right here. How far back does that go? I mean, that goes all the way back to. Let's see. I mean, you could even. I don't know if this is like kind of pushing it, but you could even almost say that's like back here. What if I went down on the bottom of those candles? Yeah, look at that. I mean, So I mean, we might be able to see a nice pullback. This obviously has a history of bounces, so but the thing is, I mean, even if you got the bottom of this 664 to 690, I don't know, 40 cents, you're probably making what, 7, 8%. So that's good, but are you going to be able to hold all the way through 1051 to 1111? Are you going to hold all the way through there? I don't know. Very choppy, but it is putting in higher lows there. I don't know, something to look at. SNPW seems like it kind of faded off. Yeah, just fading, low volume. BFRI fading. DWAC, this is the Trump play. Let's see. Doesn't really help. I mean, everyone was saying up in here, um, oh my God, it's coming back, and it, what did it do? It just tanked. So I don't know, not really interesting, but good to see if there are any sympathy plays if that starts running, or good to watch the sympathy plays. That is, cars just it's up, but volume's fading. I don't know, where's it gonna go? It's not like it's gonna. I don't know, can it push? I mean, it's under the highs. It's been holding under red to green, and X air here. Yeah, not really interesting to me, but that's basically it for the weekly overview or weekly review. Um, I'm happy with December so far. I just have to keep in mind the overall market, and if a chart setup is not ideal, I have to keep in mind that I should mental trade it and not really put capital in. But I'm still getting that down. Um, I think that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have a good weekend. Study up. I know I'm going to be. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.